What's up YouTube, it's IDs, I hope you're doing well. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel I'll talk about music production in the field of pop and hip-hop music, and if you're a loyal subscriber, welcome back. Today I'm gonna give you a bunch of tips to make your vocals sound more powerful and make them stand out in your mixes. But before we start, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell so that you'll be the first one to know every time I release content and videos on music production. Also, in the description you'll find a link to a free ebook that talks about the basics of vocal mixing in the field of pop and hip-hop music. That's all I had to say for the intro. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing you can do to make your vocals cut through the mix is to focus your EQ on the presence range. What you need to know is that the frequency range covered by vocals, which generally goes from like 100 Hz to 20 kHz, can be separated in several frequency bands that bring something special to the vocals. The frequency band you need to focus on to give this extra power and energy to your vocals is the one located between 3 and 6 kHz. By boosting this range, you will automatically add more presence to the vocals. You will get them closer to the listener and they will naturally stand out and cut through the mix. Audio example in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back. And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back.
The only thing you need to be careful of is not to boost too much, or you might create something too aggressive and not pleasant to listen to. So make sure you compare the vocals with and without the boost on the presence range to find the happy medium. Another thing you can do is use tonal compression. In vocal mixing, you can find two main types of compression, which depends on the type of compressor and the values you choose. There is dynamic compression, which is simply meant to control the dynamics, and there is tonal compression, which aims to give a certain power, punch, and brightness to the source. And good news, that's exactly the point of this video. The most popular type of compressor used for tonal compression is the FET compressor, and especially the 1176 compressor. You can find tons of emulations that quite do the same job, but to be honest, the one I always come back to is the one from Waves, the CLA76, because it's the only one that gives me this touch of saturation that allows me to really boost the energy of the vocals in the high range. With the FET compressor used on vocals, the best results will generally be obtained when you target a gain reduction of about 5 to 7 dB. But again, it really depends on the vocals you're working on and their dynamics. Audio example.
And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back. And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back.
Another thing you can explore is the use of saturation. I think saturation is a tool that is underused in the field of vocal mixing because many people don't really understand how it works, and also many people think that when you talk about saturation it has to be something super aggressive like this. But it's not. Saturation is also something that can be used in a subtle way and that can really make your vocals sound special and unique. And believe me, sometimes saturation is something that takes your vocals from amateur and tasteless to pro in the blink of an eye. On vocals, I love to use Saturn 2, the saturation tool from FabFilter, but I also often use Decapitator for the analog and vintage touch it can give to my vocals. And this is the one I'm gonna use for this example.
And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back. And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back.
This one is quite subtle, I gotta be honest. It doesn't change the world, but it gives a certain punch and brightness to the vocals that is, I think, impossible to get with an EQ or a compressor. So yes, I'm convinced that saturation is a very powerful tool in vocal mixing. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please hit this like button and subscribe to my channel to watch more quality content on music production in the future. Let's continue this video. The next one is, oh, I really love the next one. It is parallel compression. Parallel compression is also a mixing technique that scares many amateurs because it sounds complicated with the auxiliaries, the sends, the settings used for parallel compression. But when you get the idea of how it works, you see that it's actually super simple and that you can implement it super easily in a template and reuse it again and again. So what is parallel compression? To keep it simple, using parallel compression is the fact to blend the direct source, in this case is vocals, with the same source, but this one heavily compressed. Using this mixing technique will allow you to add a touch of aggressiveness and punch to the vocals without modifying the natural dynamics of the direct source. This technique is used by many professional mixing engineers to enhance that in-your-face effect that is very appreciated in pop and hip-hop music. I won't go too far in the explanation of this technique because I made another video where I give more in-depth explanations on parallel compression. You can find it right here, but you can take the settings you're gonna see in a second as a guideline for your next mixes. Here's an audio example of parallel compression in action. Let's go.
And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back. And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back.
Next one, multi-band compression. This one is probably the more difficult to set up and use efficiently on your vocals. I wouldn't advise using this technique if you're a beginner, but if you think you have a relatively advanced level in vocal mixing, then this tool can really help you. I think the power of multi-band compression is in the fact that if you use it well, it will rebalance the frequency spectrum of your vocals by still enhancing the punch and transients. For my projects, I love to use the plugin C4 from Waves and go from the preset vocal. From there, depending on the vocals, the dynamics, the input gain, the energy in each frequency band, I will modify the initial settings to get the sound I'm looking for. C4 is the one I love to use, but it's not the only option for multiband compression. There's also Pro MB, ML4000, C6, and plenty of other very good options. Anyway, let's hear how it sounds with and without multiband compression.
And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back. And now you're long gone, you ain't never coming back.
Alright, the last one is the most special of this list and probably the most unexpected. It has nothing to do with mixing or production techniques, and it is focusing more on the performance. Yes, sometimes the problem isn't where you think it is. You can use the best mixing tools, the best techniques. If the performance is bad and flat, you won't get any power or energy from it. I often come across this situation with artists in recording sessions where we want to give the vocals some punch for the rough mix. We try all the compression and EQ techniques to give that extra energy, but in the end, it doesn't really work. And we're like, maybe we should re-record it and give, I don't know, more energy on this word, insist on this syllable. And that's it. That's where the energy really was. In the takes. So when you don't find the energy you're looking for in the mix, despite all the very good techniques I gave you in this video, take a step back and ask yourself if the problem lies before the mixing process, because don't forget that mixing is all about enhancing the energy of a song, not creating it. That was a good one. That is it for this video. I hope it's gonna help you give more punch, power, and energy to the next vocals you're gonna work on in the future. Before you leave, make sure you drop your like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel to get more interesting information on music production in the future. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments and I will be very happy to answer them as soon as I can. See you soon. Bye-bye.